It seems like the end of the world, the final hour, it excites us. It seems like that the final hour, doomsday, qiyamah, call it what you like. It seems like that this excites us. And the reason I say it excites us, I mean, look at today. How many people you have sitting here? Would you have this type of gathering if we were talking about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam and the birth of Rasulullah, or the life of Rasulullah, or the revelations upon Rasulullah, or we were talking about how the Quran was revealed, or we were talking about how you should offer your salah correctly, or if we were talking about the masail pertaining zakat, or masail pertaining to Hajj or Umrah? Never in a million years would you have thousands and thousands of people attending gatherings if we were talking on subjects like this. So the hour excites us. And the reason I say this is, you don't see anyone hardly in this day and age fulfilling their purpose in life. You do not see people waking up during the night and prostrating before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi and begging for Allah's mercy, repenting and turning to Allah. My young friends, look at our masajid. There's over 1,000 masajid in this country, in England. And these masajid that we have built, they're costing millions and millions of pounds. Yet, my young friends, when will you ever see the masjid full? Tell me, you will see the masjid full on a Jumu'ah, or you will see the masjid full on the day of Eid. And even then on a Jumu'ah, when the Imam sits on his mimbar or his chair and he begins to deliver a reminder, if Jummah is at 1 o'clock and the Imam sits there at 12:30, the masjid will be empty. You'll only have a handful of old men. When will the masjid be full? When the Imam is on the verge of delivering the khutbah and on the verge of leading the Jummah prayer, and as soon as Jummah prayer comes to an end, the masjid is empty. On normal prayer, you will find 50 people. You will find 100 people if you're lucky, depending on the area that you live in. Yet, in that very area, you will find thousands and thousands of Muslims. Our masjids are crying at this moment in time, and they're shedding tears of blood. We are not praying as we should be praying. We are not bowing down as we should be bowing down. We are not prostrating as we should be prostrating. We are not elevating the kalima la ilaha illallah as we should be elevating the kalima la ilaha illallah. We do not fast as we should be fasting. We are not performing the Hajj as we should be performing the Hajj. We are not giving our zakat as we should be giving zakat. We are not donating in the path of Allah as we should be donating in the path of Allah. We are not helping our Muslim brothers across the globe as we should be helping our Muslim brothers across the globe. My young friend, what excites you with regards to the Day of Judgment? Does this excite you? That you will stand before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. You will stand before the Lord of the heavens and the earth. My young friend, you will stand before the Lord of the entire universe, the Lord of everything that exists out there. And you will stand behind Him on a day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be angry like never before. You will come before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. لَيْسَ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ. On that day, there will be no barrier between you and Allah. لَيْسَ بَيْنَكَ وَبَيْنَ اللَّهِ حِجَابٌ. On that day, there will be no curtain between you and Allah. There will be no veil between you and Allah. There will be no wall between you and Allah. O Insan, O Abdullah, O Abdurrahman, O Arshad, you will directly stand before the greatest of all beings on a day when Allah will be angry like never before. Picture this in your mind's eye, kid, because you're gonna be there, and you better believe it. This is no joke, my young friend. This is not entertainment. Every single one of us will come before our Master when Allah will be angry like never before. On a day when Allah will punish like no being within this universe can punish. You will come and you will stand before Him, and He will make you pay in a manner no being within this universe can make you pay. He will hold you to account, my young friend, for every breath that you took whilst you were alive. He will hold you to account for every second of life that you live. He will hold you to account for every word your tongue uttered. He will hold you to account for every sin that you committed. He will hold you to account for every wrong that you did whilst you were in the dunya. I ask you, my young friend, is this what excites you with regards to the akhirah? Is this what excites you with regards to the hereafter? Is this what excites you with regards to the final hour? I ask you, my young friend, is this what excites you? You will come on the plane of resurrection. What do you think you will see? You will see the creation of Allah. You will see Jahannam, a huge creation of Allah. Allah has sworn, لَأَمْلَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. Your little mind, my little mind cannot even comprehend the size of Jahannam. And Allah is swearing, I will fill Jahannam with the humankind. I will fill Jahannam with the jinn kind. Jahannam contains all types of punishment. Punishment which my little mind cannot conceive. Punishment which your little mind cannot conceive. From scorpions to snakes to zamharir. And then the fire of Jahannam. A fire which is more hotter than any fire that you will find within this universe. Any fire that you will find within the dunya. The fire of hell is 100 times more hotter than any fire that you find inside the dunya. And the fire of hell, my young friend, is not yellow or orange like you find in the dunya. The fire of hell, my young friend, is absolutely black. Jahannam contains the fire of hell. You will see that Jahannam will be brought on the plane of resurrection. مع 70,000 زمام مع كل زمام 70,000 ملك. It will have 70,000 rains. On every rain, there will be 70,000 angels pulling, bringing Jahannam. As Jahannam on that day will be angry like never before, because Allah will be angry like never before. And when Jahannam is brought on the plane of resurrection and Jahannam takes a breath, believe me, kid, you're gonna be there. You're gonna see this. You're gonna be part of this movie. You're gonna be the producer. You're gonna be the director. And you're gonna be the main star. When Jahannam is brought on that plane of resurrection, every man from the first to the last will fall flat in prostration before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi. Every man from the first till the last, where they will fall flat in prostration and they will begin to beg like they've never begged in their entire lives. They will beg Allah for His mercy. They will beg Allah for His raham karam, and they will beg Allah for His protection. I ask you, my young friend, what excites you with regards to the akhirah? What excites you with regards to the day of judgment? This, that you will be there, and see if you can picture this in your mind's eye. See if you can visualize this in your mind's eye. Because kid, this is no joke, this is reality. You're gonna be there, you're gonna see this. And if you do not see what I'm telling you at this moment in time, you can hold my neck before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi on the day of judgment. I swear by Allah, if you do not see what I'm saying now, you can hold my neck before the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, you know what, that guy from Bradford was an absolute liar. What he said was a lie. You're gonna see this, you better believe it. You're gonna see this, you're gonna be there. يحشر الناس على أرض بيضاء أفراء. It will be the greatest congregation ever seen. It will be the greatest congregation ever seen. You know, the congregation in Hajj is just a doddle in comparison to what you're going to see on the Day of Judgment. By the grace of Allah, you've traveled from far and wide here. There's several thousand people here. You can feel the heat. As I'm addressing you at this moment in time, sweat is pouring down my back. I can feel the intense heat in this gathering. Picture this in your mind's eye. Every single man that Allah has ever created, from the first man till the last man, will be on a flat white plane. The earth will be stretched like rubber. Have you seen an elastic band? The earth will be stretched. There will be no trees. There will be no mountains, no refuge, no place to hide. Every single man that Allah has created, from the first man, Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, to the last man that Allah will create before the Day of Judgment, will be on this flat white plane. Can you imagine the heat? If this is how much heat in this masjid at this moment in time, just 2,000-3,000 people sitting in this gathering, if this is the heat that is generating, can you imagine how much heat, billions and billions of people that Allah has created at this moment in time? There are several billion people. How many people do you think Allah has created from the first man till the last man? They will all be there. Nobody will be able to hide. There is no refuge. There is no escape. No heaven will give you shelter. No earth will you be able to hide. Not only the humankind, my young friends, all the jinn kind, and the jinn kind outnumber the humankind by thousands and thousands and thousands. All of the jinn kind will be on the plane of resurrection. All the shayateen that Allah has ever created will be on the plane of resurrection. Every animal that Allah has ever created will be on the plane of resurrection. You know, at this moment in time, mashallah, you're sitting in such a manner that you can stretch your arms, maybe you can stretch your legs, maybe you can turn around and you will be on top of somebody's face. For those of you especially that are sitting on the front, on that day, my young friends, you will picture this in your mind's eye. So you've got these zillions and zillions of people from the first to the last on this flat white plane, and you will be standing so close together that you will be literally on top of one another. You will literally be on top of one another. There's no such thing as stretching your arms. There's no such thing as relaxing. There's no such thing as stretching your legs. My young friend, you will be so close together that our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Innal aqdama yawm al-qiyamati mislu an-nabli fil qarn was-sa'id alladhi yajidu liqadamayhi mawdi'an yad'uhuma." That on the day of judgment, feet will be like arrows in a pouch. Have you seen arrows in a pouch? All on top of one another, so close together. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, feet of mankind on that day will be like arrows in a pouch. Fortunate will be that person who can find a place for his feet on the day of judgment. You will not be able to find a place to put your foot on the ground, so it's actually touching the zameen, so it's actually touching the earth. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying, you'll be on top of one another. Fortunate will be that person out of those zillions that can get some stability for his feet, that his feet can actually touch the ground. So billions and billions of people, picture this in your mind's eye, because you're going to be there, all on top of one another. Never mind stretching. You can't even place your feet on the ground. And then next, how much heat do you think that will generate? You know, if that doesn't kill you, then you know what? After this, Allah will bring the sun closer. The sun will be brought close. How far is the sun at this moment in time? The scientists say the sun is millions and millions of miles away. It's been a hot day today. 30 degrees, 35 degrees, and what do you see? Off will come the trousers. Off will come the t-shirt. We can't tolerate the heat. 30 degrees, 35 degrees, we can't tolerate it. We can't sleep at night. We become itchy, agitated. We become restless. We begin to toss and turn. It's too much for our bodies. 30, 35 degrees. I ask you, my young friend, when you're standing so close, zillions and zillions of you, and then the sun is brought close to you, how close do you think the sun will be brought? My young friends, our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, miqdari mil. The word mil in Arabic can mean one of two things. Miqdari mil, mil as in mile. It will be not a millions and millions of miles away. It will be literally 1 mile from your heads. And the second meaning, and many a muhaddithin has taken this meaning, mil in Arabic is that needle which you use to place surma inside your eyes. Needle which you use to place antimony collyrium inside your eyes, which literally is about this big. So the sun will literally be around 1 span above your head. Tell me, my young friend, millions and millions of people on top of one another, if that doesn't kill you, and then you've got to deal with the sun, which will literally be above your head. And yeah, you're right, you're gonna sweat like you've never sweated in your entire life. And you know, this sweat that you will sweat, it will be down to the sins that you committed. The more sins that you committed in the dunya, the more sweat you will be in the hereafter on the day of judgment. This is why when you're standing there amongst these zillions and zillions of people, you can't move to your right, you can't move to your left. Everyone's intermingled on the plane of resurrection. You're standing there. Next to you is a shaitan. Next to him is an animal. Next to him is a jinn. Next to him is something else. Like this, everyone's intermingled. Man next to beast, beast next to jinn, jinn next to shaitan, shaitan next to animal. So you can't move to your right. You can't move to your left. The sun above your head. And now you begin to sweat. You will see people there. Some of them are in sweat according to their ankles. Some of them, their sweat is up to their knees. Some of these people, they are in sweat up to their waist. Some of these people, they're in sweat up to their chest. And some of them are literally in sweat up to their necks. And they're struggling to keep their heads above the sweat, their own sweat. They are literally drowning in their own sweat. If you're in sweat because of your sins, according to up to your ankles, my young friend, the person next to you can be in sweat right up to his waist because of his sins. Don't use aql, that this can't happen. Because this deen of Allah doesn't work on aql, doesn't work on intellect. Though majority of the ahkam and the laws of Allah confirm to intellect, but our deen doesn't work on aql. It works on naql. It works on the teachings of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And even if the teachings go against the aql, but they are in accordance with the naql, we will take the teachings and we will leave our intellect to one side. Isn't that the case? When you make masa, what do you make masa on? Your leather socks, do you do it at the bottom of your feet or the top of your feet? On the top of the sock. Yeah, aql says you walk, it's the bottom of your foot that the sole touches the ground. So you should make masa at the bottom of your feet. But you make it on top. Why? Because this was the teachings of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We don't go by aql, we go by naql. You make tayammum in the absence of water, you will make tayammum. You will make tayammum for wudu, you will make tayammum for ghusl. Now, aql says, mitti, earth is not a purifier. If you use the earth, you don't become clean, but you become more dirty because the earth is dirty. This is what the intellect says. But we don't go by the intellect. Why? Because Allah orders in the Quran, for تَيَمُّمُ صَعِيدٌ طَيِّبًا. If you can't find water, you will make tayammum. So the deen of Allah runs on naql and not on aql. So when you're on that plane of resurrection, Don't use your akal. Okay, how can that be? That when you're in a swimming pool, if you're in 5 foot of water, the guy standing next to you will be in 5 foot of water. Ain't gonna work like that on the day of judgment, my friend. If you are in sweat up to your ankles because of the sins that you committed, it's so possible that the person next to you has committed more sin, and even though he's right next to you, he will be in sweat up to his waist. He will be in sweat up to his chest. He will be in sweat that he can barely keep his head out. And you know what? If that hasn't killed you and made you cry like you've never cried before, you know what will happen next? Now the doors of hell will be open on the plane of resurrection. The doors of hell, the fire of hell, which has become black. Why? Because Allah has given it fuel and it's been burning for thousands and thousands of years. When you start a fire, when you add fuel and you continuously add fuel, my young friends, the fire becomes hotter and hotter. The fire of hell has been burning for thousands and thousands of years. The doors will open and the hot air will blow in your faces and it will roast them. What do you think will happen? And you know the smell. Prophet ﷺ has described the smell on the plane of resurrection, Antonu min al-jiyaf, that the smell will be worse than rotten corpses. The smell, the most rotten corpse that you've ever come across in the dunya, the smell on the plane of resurrection will be worse than this. Yeah, in your house, what happens when a mouse dies? A small mouse dies under the floorboard and you can't locate it, you can't find it. My young friends, that stench is unbearable. You can't sleep in the same house if you've got a dead mouse inside that house. If this is the smell of one little mouse, my young friend, what do you think the smell will be like on the plane of resurrection? And when you're suffering like this, like never before, on top of one another, can't find a place for your feet, the sun above your heads, drowning in sweat, the doors of Jahannam open. You know what people are going to say to Allah? People will not be able to tolerate this, and they will begin to say to Allah, Ya Rabbi, irsaluka bi ila an-nar ahwan alayya mimma ajid. Oh Allah, enough, is it enough? Oh Allah, I beg you, I can't tolerate this. Oh Allah, I beg you, just do my faisla. Oh Allah, I beg you, never mind doing hisab. Just send me to the fire of hell. I can't tolerate this anymore. He will say to Allah, oh Allah, the punishment of hell is a lot lighter than what I'm experiencing at this moment in time. Forget my hisab and kitab. Just send me to the fire of hell. My young friends, they will be saying this because they will not be able to tolerate what will happen on the plane of resurrection. There is no comparison between what will happen on the day of judgment and what will take place in the fire of hell. What will take place on Jahannam? My young friends, the day of judgment, كان مقداره 50,000 سنة, is just 50,000 years long. And you will suffer for those that have wronged themselves and neglecting the teachings of Allah and His Rasul and disobeyed Him and just didn't have time for Allah. You will suffer for 50,000 years long. But my young friends, what you will suffer on the day of judgment, this is just the beginning. This is just an introduction. This is just a taste for what Allah has prepared in the fire of hell. What Allah has prepared in Jahannam. Because Allah created Jahannam to punish people. And Allah can punish like no being can ever punish. And my young friends, the punishment of hell for those that don't believe is forever and ever and ever. There is no end to the punishment of Jahannam for those that don't believe. I ask you, my young friend, is this what excites you with regards to the final hour? This is just the beginning. You're going to be there. You're going to see this. What excites you this? Inna zalzalat as-sa'ati shay'un azim. That the earth will be shaken, a mighty shaking. An earth will take place, an earthquake will take place. Picture this in your mind's eye, because you're going to be there. You're going to see this. What you're going to see, picture this in your mind's eye. A boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in total darkness. A boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in total darkness. caught in a hurricane, caught in gales, and sea waves 15, 20 meters high are hitting this small boat in the middle of the Atlantic from all directions, from the north to the south, to the east to the west. And on top of this, these hurricane force winds are hitting this small boat from all directions, and you're on this boat. I ask you, my young friend, will you be able to stand up straight when this is the condition of the boat that is being tossed to and fro, thrown to and fro? There will be no stability on that day. My young friend, when the earth is shaken, a mighty shaking, you will see that on that day, there will be no stability. You will not be able to stand straight and walk with pride as you walk at this moment in time. My friend, on that day, Allah says, يَوْمَ تَرَوْنَهَا تَذْهَلُ كُلُّ مُرْضِعَةٍ أَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ. You will see on that day that every nursing mother will forget her child. Every nursing mother will forget her young. You know as well as I, to a mother and father, there is nothing more dear to them than their children. At this moment in time, my young friends, you work day and night. Why do you work day and night when £50, £100 will suffice you? And you can so easily live on £50, £100 a week. But my young friends, you will work overtime on a weekday, and you will work for double time on a weekend and triple time on a bank holiday. Why do you do this? You do this for the sake of your children. Why? You want to give them things that you never had, what your mother and father couldn't give you because of the difficulties that they experienced. You want to give them the best clothing. You want to give them the best food and drink. You want to give them the best education. This is because of the love that Allah has placed inside your heart. And then out of your children, naturally Allah has placed the love of the youngest child more than any other child. Look at the way a mother, when that child cries and is suffering from some illness, whilst you, the father of this child, will just turn on your right side and you couldn't care less, and you will begin to snore, while this wife of yours will pick up this child and she will embrace this child. And I swear by Allah, if the need arises, she will spend the entire night awake with this child in her arms, giving him comfort. Why? Because this is the love that Allah has placed inside the heart of a mother for a child. It's natural. If the need ever arises, she will sacrifice her sleep for this child. If the need ever arises, she will sacrifice her food, her drink, her clothing for this child. If the need ever arises, my young friend, such is the love of a mother that she will sacrifice her life, her kidney, her lung, her heart, if she could give her heart to her child, and her child was in need of a heart. Such is the love that Allah has placed inside the heart of a mother, that she will give her life to her child. Yeah, Allah saying on that day, O insan, you will see on that day, never mind this same mother that was prepared to give her life for her child in the dunya. On that day, this mother will not be concerned about her 2-year-old son or her 2-week-old son. On that day, you will see تَذْهَلُ كُلُّ مُرْضِعَةٍ أَمَّا أَرْضَعَتْ. Every nursing mother will forget her child. Her child will no longer concern her. Allah goes a step further. Allah says, وَتَضَعُ كُلُّ ذَاتِ حَمْلٍ حَمْلَهَا. And you will see that every pregnant woman will be relieved of her load. You know, when Sayyidina Israfil will blow inside the horn, the sound of the horn is so terrifying. When pregnant women hear the sound of the horn, there and then they will drop their load. My young friend, there and then they will miscarriage. وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. Allah saying, you will see mankind in a drunken state. Many a time you've seen a drunken guy. He'll have his bottle in his hand. He's walking up the street. He's probably singing a song or two. He can barely walk straight. He can barely keep upright. He's rocking to and fro. The only thing that concerns this man when he's in a state of intoxication is himself. Everyone else means nothing to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, on that day, kid, you will see mankind as if in a drunken state. Everybody Nothing will concern them. The only thing that will concern every person is himself. At the same time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. O insan, do not think that in reality they will be drunk. No, they will not have had a spliff or two. They will not have had a glass or two extra of gin and tonic, my young friend, or vodka. No. وَتَرَى النَّاسَ سُكَارَى وَمَا هُمْ بِسُكَارَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, in reality on that day, they will not be drunk. This will become of them. Why? وَلَكِنَّ عَذَابَ اللَّهِ شَدِيدٌ. The adhab of Allah, the punishment of Allah, the chastisement of Allah, the torture of Allah will be severe upon mankind. I ask you, my young friend, what excites us with regards to the akhirah? Everybody wants to know the signs of the akhirah. Everybody wants to know about the final hour. Nobody is concerned about their final hour. My young friend, you've come today from Scotland. You've come today from London. You've come today from Bradford. Some of you are local. Some of you are from Walsall. You're thinking about the final hour. You know what? Today could be your last hour. Today you could be your last hour. Tomorrow you could receive a text. You know what? That guy that was standing on the stage that was talking about the final hour, he was a fool. He was talking about the final hour, but he wasn't thinking about his final hour. He's gone. He's history. Bang, finish. It could be me. It could be you. What should interest you, my young friend, is your final hour. What should interest you is your meeting with Allah. What should interest you is, have you prepared for the akhirah? Have you prepared for meeting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Have you fulfilled your purpose in life? My young friend, what excites you? This, that on that day, فإذا جاءت الصاخة يوم يفر المرء من أخيه وأمه وأبيه وصاحبته وبنيه. When Israfil will blow inside the horn, when you hear the sound, when you hear the scream, mankind will begin to run. يفر المرء من أخيه. You will run away from your brother Amjad. You will run away from your brother Abdullah. You will run away from your mother and father. You know, in the dunya, you were prepared to sacrifice your life for your mother and father. In the dunya, you were showing obedience. In the dunya, you were speaking with your mother and father in terms of honor. But on that day, you will run away from them in case they grab you by the neck and they bring you in the court of Allah and say to Allah, oh Allah, this son of mine was disobedient. This son of mine did not listen to me. This son of mine did not fulfill my rights. You will run away from your mother and father. You will run away from your wife. At this moment in time, you hug and kiss and you embrace. On that day, you will distance her away. You will distance yourself from your flesh and blood. Why? Everybody will have enough on that day on his plate to make him careless of others. وجوه يومئذ مسفرة. You will see faces. Oh, Allahu Akbar. Allahumma ij'alna minhum. Oh Allah, everyone that is participating in this gathering, oh Allah, make them from amongst these people. وجوه يومئذ مسفرة. Their faces will be glowing like the dawn. نورهم يسعى بين أيديهم وبأيمانهم. There will be light in front of them. When total darkness prevails on the day of judgment, these believers, there will be nur. There will be nur to the front of them. There will be nur to the right of them. There will be nur to the left of them. My young friends, وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة. When mankind is suffering like this, these people, ضاحكة, they'll be smiling, they'll be laughing on the plane of resurrection. وجوه يومئذ مسفرة ضاحكة مستبشرة. They will be rejoicing at the good news that they receive. And who will these people be? Those that fulfill their purpose in life. Those that would offer their 5 daily prayers. Those that would fast in the month of Ramadan. Those that would give their zakat. Those that would help the poor and needy. Those that would wake up during the night and prostrate before the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi and beg for Allah's mercy. They are the ones whose faces will be glowing. And then you will have, my young friends, وجوه يومئذ عليها غبرة ترحقها قترة. There will be faces that are covered with dust. There will be faces that will be veiled in darkness. أولئك هم الكفرة الفجرة. And who will these be people? The sinners, the kuffar, those that you said disobey Allah. those that rejected the teachings of Allah and His Rasul, not only will they run away from one another on that day, Allah takes it a step further, my young friends. Allah says, يَوَدُّ الْمُجْرِمُ لَوْ يَفْتَدِي مِنْ عَذَابِ يَوْمِئِذٍ بِبَنِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَأَخِيهِ وَفَصِيلَتِهِ الَّتِي تُؤْوِي وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا ثُمَّ يُنْجِي. Again, my young friend, I ask you to focus and concentrate and visualize, because you're going to be there and you're going to see all these events unfolding on the plane of resurrection. The mujrimeen will come, those that were guilty of sinning, those that were guilty in not obeying Allah, those that liberalized Islam, those that rejected the teachings of Allah and His Rasul and would adorn their lives with the teachings of the kuffar. My young friends, when they see what is happening around them and they're seeing one by one Allah is throwing the individuals in the fire of hell, they will come to Allah and they will say, لَوْ يَفْتَدِي مِنْ عَذَابِ يَوْمِئِذٍ بِبَنِيهِ. Oh Allah, I beg you, let me go free. Oh Allah, don't punish me. Oh Allah, take my wife, punish her, but let me go free. Oh Allah, take my mother and father, punish them, let me go free. Oh Allah, I'll give you my children. Oh Allah, I'll give you my clan. Oh Allah, I will give you every single human being on the face of the earth, but do not punish me.
وأكون للخير العميم مثالا.